You are now watching Wings of Forgiveness, Episode 2, featuring guest linker Myrtle Skinner and guest therapist
Hi, my
Lakiesha
name is
Russell.
Lakiesha Russell, and I'm a licensed professional counselor. Forgiveness, that is, I feel like, such a big word, and something I think we strive to do every day. But how I help clients and myself define forgiveness is when we don't allow things that have offended us or hurt us no longer weigh us down or keep us captive. And being able to walk in forgiveness gives you so much peace, so much joy, so much happiness. And it's not easy at all. So I don't want anybody to think like, oh, it's so easy just to forgive because I may be saying it so lightly. But, in all honesty, I've had to forgive people in my life, and that has been a journey. I think when you choose to forgive, you're already making the first step that it's no longer going to hold you captive by what somebody has done to you. I love to always share with people that, what happened to you might not have been your fault, but the healing piece of it is your responsibility. And a piece of that is being able to step in that forgiveness and make that choice to forgive that person.
I've had incidents in my life to forgive. When I was a teenager, I think my first, well, I had some close girlfriends, and they, they stole my boyfriend away. That hurt me, and for years I was angry with them about that. And then as we got older, I learned to forgive them, forgive them, forgive them. We grew up here in Milwaukee together. We used to ride out to the lake on our bicycles and all that kind of stuff. And we got close. We got close, and I was glad that I took that off my heart. Took that off my heart, because now she's got dementia, and she lives in Detroit, and her sister lives in New York, and I haven't been able to. When I lost my sight, I can't dial numbers or nothing, so I don't know what their condition is now with this virus and everything. Because I was just getting ready to go visit the one in New York, and I don't know if she's alive or what now. And then the other incident of forgiveness that I learned to forgive was with my second marriage, and the woman he married, well, she came in and destroyed our family. And he married her, and she just thinks she's still in with the family and whatnot, and then I had to learn to. I learned to forgive. I forgive. I forgive. I even ended up hugging her one time. I went to visit my second husband. He was in Madison in a facility. He had dementia. And we went out there to visit him. My grandstudents took me. I said, yeah, I'm going to go visit him. Because when I was sick, even after we divorced, if I was in the hospital or something, he would always come to see me. So I said, now, I'm less than a person. Less than a person to not go see him. He's a person too. And that kind of took a load off of me as you just have to, forgive, unconditional forgiveness. Unconditional forgiveness. In my studies in my school, we had to read a book on forgiving. Forgiving. You can't keep holding grudges, and it festers and festers, and nobody's thinking about it but you. So I'm learning more and more and more to forgive. You know, and ask the Lord to help me. Situations pop up and I'll get angry. And just not too long ago, with my great grandchild, I was angry with her daddy because he wouldn't let her go with us when we went on a trip. And I was so angry with him. But I've forgiven now. I've forgiven and I pray for him, you know, that the Lord gives him touches his heart and so he, you know, be better, don't have a stone heart about things.
Just a little transparency, right? In a relationship, and you know, I've had to forgive my significant other just for like emotionally cheating. I was like, you know, cheating is still cheating, regardless of how we may look at it. And you know, that is a process, especially with somebody you care about and who say they love you. And you're like, how can you do this to me? You know, and when you think of forgiveness, I want people to know that that's a process and you don't have to rush that grief process, because I think forgiveness comes out of that process of grief. And I really want people to understand that piece too, that you don't have to rush that process of being upset, being angry, you know, but slowly being able to shed those layers so you can fully walk in forgiveness with that person. You know, a lot of times I see it when I'm working with children, right? You're like, well, why are kids so mad at somebody or holding grudges? Sometimes, you know, us as adults, you know, we don't always do right by kids. And when I see it translated in kids and their behaviors, right? It might be like that disrespect or them not taking you seriously because you might have offended them and you don't even realize it. And I want to encourage like those parents, those who work with kids, it's okay to apologize, because kids need that too. And they need to be able to walk in forgiveness and not have all of that anger and frustration built up as they're interacting with these people that have hurt them. And so keeping that in mind is that kids can walk in grudges and not want to forgive, but us as adults, we have to help them be able to walk in that forgiveness and being able to apologize for anything we might have done that might have hurt them. Forgiveness is really key, especially with families, right? And so with family dynamics, you know, we see it all, family secrets of things that have hurt us over the years and finally are coming out, and people are struggling with to forgive somebody because somebody might not own up to what they have done or what they have said. And I think with forgiveness, even if we don't ever get the apology, we have to be able to let it go and give that person grace and forgive them, you know. And again, it's easier said than done, because depending on what offense was done to you, what was said to you, you know, that can sting, and that may leave wounds, emotional wounds for us to have to heal. But again, that healing is your responsibility. Even though what happened to you isn't your fault, the healing piece is your responsibility, and a part of that healing is forgiveness.
Forgive, because we're supposed to have love. We're supposed to, it says, love your enemies. It's hard to do that. But we're supposed to, Jesus Christ was all about love. That's the first thing, love. Love thy neighbors as thyself. You love your enemies too. Because sometimes a person that did you wrong, or enemies, if you gotta be kind to them or whatnot, they might turn out to be your best friend. You never know. You never know. I know I had an incident with my son-in-law when he was married to my daughter. I just did not like him. He didn't do her right. He had, you know, he was with the drugs and all that kind of stuff. And I just, I couldn't stand him. But I've been knowing her since she was 18 years old. She's 71 years old now. When my daughter died, they got married and had children, 2 children, all that kind of stuff, and he didn't have to, right, and this and that. And when my daughter died, he wanted to know, could he stay with me? And I said, no. But he said, Mom, that was the best thing you could have done. He went in for rehab, and he turned himself, he did a 90-degree turn. He's in the Bible now. He's my best friend. He's my friend. Now he takes me to the hospital when I have to go places and stay there till he finds out what's wrong. Am I gonna be all right? And see, that's just God in the making. I forgave him, and we talked about it. Me and him talked about it. He said, "Yeah, Mom, I know." I said, "Boy, I did not like you." And he said, "I know, I understand." He said, "I didn't like myself." Yeah, he's 71 years old now. Yeah, and I'm the only mom he's got now. His mom and his father died.
A few weeks ago, I came across a post that said, forgiveness is necessary, but reconnection is not. And that was so powerful to me because oftentimes when we forgive somebody or working towards forgiveness, people that have offended us want to be back in our space or be connected to us. And if we aren't connected to them, then they're thinking, oh, they're holding on to a grudge. They haven't forgiven me. But it's like, no, I've forgiven you, but I don't have to allow you back in my place and space and presence. I can forgive you and walk in peace and protect my peace with that thing. And I know some people may watch this and be like, but Lakiesha, can't people change where you can allow them back in your space? And that is so true. But I think with forgiveness comes wisdom as well. And so we can walk in that forgiveness, that peace, but also having that wisdom. If I allow this person back in my place and space, let me set the expectations of what I expect. And if they cross those boundaries, then hey, you got to move a different kind of way with them. So as we're talking about forgiveness, you're probably thinking, Lakiesha, well, what is the first step? The first step is acknowledge that you've been hurt, that you've been offended. Second is acknowledge those emotions that come along with it. Third is keeping in mind, because I feel like everybody has a story, right? And oftentimes what we might hear and what is might shared and said is hurt people. And so maybe keeping that perspective in mind, like say if your parent mistreated you or did you wrong, maybe being able to reframe that my parent probably did the best that they could with what they knew how. Or if you were mistreated or hurt by a significant other in a relationship, and again, I'm not talking about like physical abuse, but more, cheating, things like that. And so keeping in mind that they might have carried baggage into your relationship from previous relationships that they didn't heal from. And so now they're bleeding on you because the emotional wounds that they didn't heal from, to be in this relationship with you. So even keeping in mind and giving those people that grace and understanding that everybody has an experience, has a story of why they might react to certain things a certain way when it comes to situations that can lead into you having to walk in forgiveness. And then lastly, the biggest thing is forgiving you, because we might feel that the situation was my fault. I didn't meet his needs or meet her needs, or I said the wrong thing or something like that. But give yourself forgiveness and give yourself grace to be able to move forward. And again, it's a daily process. It won't happen overnight. It's not going to happen overnight. And so keeping that in mind, that it's okay if like one day you're feeling good, the next day you might be upset because something might trigger you about that situation. But that's when you become more self-aware to realize, okay, that has triggered me and it's making me think about that. Okay, let me flush this out by like either journaling it out or talking to a therapist right? Because being able to have somebody that we can process situations with and vent and just share our frustrations is so important. And it's good when we're talking to our girlfriends and guy friends and family and things like that. But not all the time do they know what to say or know the tools to help you be able to go through what you're going through. And oftentimes what I hear from people, like, I want a neutral party, like somebody that don't know me or know that person or the situation. And a therapist definitely can provide that. And again, we are confidential, we don't share your information with anybody. And so I have lots of clients that just share whatever it is. And especially when it comes through forgiveness, them being able just to talk to me and us process and pull apart the situation, because a therapist might be able to help you see things that you can't see because you are enraged, you're frustrated, you're feeling overwhelmed with that situation. And so forgiveness for you might not be an option. But when you're working with a clinician, they might be able to help you be able to just bring it back some, so that way you are more level-headed and clear, and that you can really process the situation so you can walk into your forgiveness. And I'm a firm believer. I feel like when we struggle with forgiveness in certain areas of our lives, it will eventually overflow. And so just being able to make that choice that the forgiveness is for you and not the other person is a big piece of that too.